Hello there, everybody. It has been a long time, but we return. The crew is back, and Agni is ours to traverse. Welcome to all of our wonderful viewers who are joining us this evening. We are here getting ready to play some D&D 5e in a homebrew setting of my own creation, and we are here with our all PoC crew on this delightful, if a little bit late, Saturday evening. So, we are going to get into continuing our journey, which has had a bit of a delay with us getting started again. We've had some sicknesses, some folks dealing with personal issues, but we're back up and running tonight, and we're going to get right back into it. But before we can do that, we have a few minor little things we have to get over. First of all, we have to thank the important people who've allowed us to actually do this, to actually have some fun on a Saturday evening together in an all PSC crew. So let's start with thanking our sponsors. Tabletop Loot, fine dice for all of your gaming needs. Devin Rue, the wonderful community supporter and the mistress of maps. And So Nerdware. So Nerdware, it's what the nerds wear. Let people know So Nerdware is the place where you can get awesome WTTP merch at a discount. Use code WELCOME to get 10% off your next purchase. Patreon, our Patreon goes to support this channel, not only to grow just amazing artists, creators, writers, and just anyone who's working in our wonderful, amazing RPG community, but it just helps us create and support all the work that people are doing here. So if you want to see more amazing different creations, worlds, and new people getting involved as GMs, players, and more, support our Patreon. And are you interested, perhaps just a little bit, in joining this wonderfully silly, chaotic mess of a community that we have on Discord? Find us on Discord. Join our community. We promise we do not bite. We, as I believe our previous producer Fox would say, we yeet joy, but we do not bite. So this is a wonderfully accepting community here at Welcome to the Party. We value equity, inclusion, and creating spaces for folks to learn how to play DTRPGs, learn how to stream, and run them, and give them a space for that. So with all that out of the way, before we can get back into the game, we're going to introduce, once again, since it's been a little while, our players. Now, unfortunately, our wonderful Furbolg Way of the Four Elements monk, Lapu, is not going to be able to join us. We send our love to Gemma, who has personal reasons for not attending. But let's start off introducing our fantastic cast of players with our guest for this session, who is the wonderful Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Should I introduce my character now or when she appears?
Just yourself, and if you'd like, up to you. You can have multiple introductions.
I will introduce the character when she appears, but yes, I am Lauren. I am on the channel sometimes, and I am very glad to be here. So, hi.
Alrighty, and our fantastic producer who saves me from grief, trouble, and the panic of trying to keep this and the stream and everything else going, Mariam.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Miriam. And I am going to be playing the Hobgoblin Lore Wizard, Dee.
Fantastic. And our fantastic tanky and combat specialist extraordinaire, Lily.
Hello, I'm Lily, and I play Bo, who is a wild hunt shifter barbarian.
And the strongest tank I have seen in many a game. Single-handedly saving the crew from a scary owl creature. Well, not the scary owl creature, that was another one. Well, the owl creature. Yeah. Next, our knowledgeable, nerdy, fire-blooded cleric themselves, Azerla.
Hey, I'm Maleta, and I play Azerla, a Fire Ganassi knowledge cleric.
And last but not least, our fiendish Bardy Warlock boy, and
hi, I'm Anthony. My character is Efuvius Paya, Hobgoblin Bardlock.
Fantastic. And so we are going to get into our game once again, starting off back where our players left off, just because it's been a couple of weeks, and just to give a bit of a refresher for where everyone has been. Our party, after receiving a divine vision in the southern halfling haven of Avis, has taken some time traversing for many days, encountering strange going-ons, not least of which including a manifestation of the literal Mothman, because when you're the GM, you can throw cryptids into your game. and has arrived in the grand northern region of Chantico, a sprawling region of various pyramidal structures, open courtyards styled with uh, shrinking step platforming sort of design to it, multiple murals and designs of jade, of limestone, onyx, and various pigmentations used to color all of these various artworks that detail a variety of different histories, be they oral, be they of shifters, be they of drow, be they of elf, dwarf, of various kinds of goblins. A sprawling city, sprawling region divided into 4 major quadrants representing many of the communities that the party has come to hear about, from encountering a rather curious, somewhat forward, but for the most part relatively pleasant, rock known by the name of Alfenia, a devotee and acolyte of Cyrololi. The party, having taken in some of the city, receiving a personal vision of some of the story and history for Lapu, the rest of them sort of having different moments of needing to take some rest as our players are dealing with some health issues coming up at the time. But near the end of our previous session, our players, at least some of them, have come to know the threat that has arisen and has been growing in Chantico of a rather charismatic and powerful dragonborn by the name of Mathura, who, in one fell blast of lightning, dealt quite a lot of damage and seems to be winning the favor of some of the older residents of Chantico. Despite the somewhat embarrassing sort of results of that encounter, the party has taken time to recover, to hear more about the local area from Alfenia. And last we ended was with Bo receiving a vision in the form of a rather gender ambiguous and gender non-conforming individual who spoke words similar to what Mathura had been known to utter, but in a variation quite different from what had been known by many who had dealt with Mathura's wrath. This, wonderful viewers and my delightful players, is where we begin again. The evening closing off, Bo having just resolved this vision. The party who was able to be there of our players during our last session, having resolved and helped a young drow woman who was nearly felled by Mathura's blade and bloodthirst. And we begin with the next morning arriving. Though perhaps it's a bit of a stretch to say we start with all of our players this morning. Instead, we start with our Bardy Fiend Boy.
Hi.
Hello, Paya. How are your dreams? How are you doing? Did you sleep well?
My character is as wakeful as I, the player, am not. But yeah, I'll say that Paya probably woke all right and feels reasonably rested.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. As you awaken this morning, you just hear a familiar voice just sort of speaking to you in your head. The patron seems to be a little restless, but seems intent on checking in on you. How are you this morning, Paya?
I look at my prayer book and I'm just going to recite some random diabolical sayings of the cult as a sort of tribute, I suppose, rather than as a direct answer to the question.
So sort of answering the question by doing like a that's interesting sort of response, like being respectful enough but not like actually giving an answer.
Yeah, plausibly, deniably doing my rights.
So devoted, so devoted. How have you been feeling? We haven't talked since we were in Avis. How are you?
I mean, I've made apparently. Oh God, it's been so long. I don't remember how to Paya accent. This is awful. I mean, I've apparently made some form of species since then. I would say that's quite an accomplishment. And we've traveled quite far without being unduly harassed. I'm quite satisfied with how things have proceeded.
And I see you've kept track of many faces along the way as well.
If you say so.
I know so. I like hearing you say it. It's enjoyable.
I swap a few faces. Is sort of a amused but cautious acknowledgement. I'll go through, let's see. Let's go through Alpharenz, Martin, as well as I wish I was better with names. Who was the Aarakocra leader of
Salik?
Yeah, let's go through Salik, Alpharenz, Martin, and then the faces of my party members. Yeah, sure, a few.
Wonderful. Are you holding out on anybody?
I'm only holding out in the sense that I don't look at some people's faces, and I know that you'll be unduly attracted to him, Monkey.
No, why would that be? Why would you be hiding a face?
I think it's pretty healthy to hide faces from you, Monkey. You seem to have an uncanny desire to be too close to them. Call it a mediating factor.
Well, I'm sure if there's one in particular that you're keeping from me, I sense some aspect of demonic blood of this face, but I can't seem to get a hold of it.
Well, you seem to have other agents who are pretty eager to devote themselves to demonic things.
Are you upset?
Why would I be upset? I say very upsetly.
Oh, there's almost like the best equivalent I can give in terms of description is like a oh too bad so sad kind of face that you see the monkey's face, that it shifts from first being like a very like demure feminine sort of form to a very like brusque sort of masculine form, and then it switches to a more like bestial form. Like the face is just, they all seem to happen within a split second.
All right, I get it. You have more facial expressions than I can manage. Call it a benefit of being a demon rather than a brainwashed cultist.
Are you entirely brainwashed? I would think if you were brainwashed entirely, you wouldn't be hiding a face from me.
I don't know why that's the part you picked up on, but sure, for the sake of the argument, let's say I'm not entirely brainwashed. Still an odd flex for you to say that you have more faces than me.
I love the phrase that was an odd flex is being said to a demon fiend. This is one of my favorite things I've ever gotten to play.
At some point, Paya was in character, and then I was just like, I don't remember how to, so I'm going to get into it very slowly. This is just...
I appreciate it. It's been a few weeks. We're getting back into it, but they just sort of smile. He looks back at you, and then she just sort of looks for it, and it's like, well, I'm sure if there's anything you wanted to talk about, you would just come to me and talk to me about it, wouldn't you?
Yes, because that is clearly something I've done so many times before, Monkey. I say in a way that conveys that I will not do this.
It's like, I will not show passive aggression in any way while viscerally demonstrating passive aggression in the voice tone.
Yeah.
No. Fair enough. You seem to be unhappy with seeing me. I'm sure we'll chat another time.
It's caution, not lack of happiness. Though I would suppose those two aren't too far apart. How are you doing, stupid monkey? How's your gardening? How's your world?
Oh, it's quite lovely. Another face to join. More peaches of life and souls to tend to crop, to cultivate, to look at and enjoy. It's a very boring sort of time. Many faces, many things to tend to. It's quite dull, I imagine. Then again, I'm sure if you wanted to talk about it, you would talk to me about it.
Well, I do want to talk about something, actually. You're a gardener of a sort. That's what the scriptures say, even though I have no idea what that means. How would you say that this place manages to have such cheap fare? What do their gardeners do you think? Is that worth investigating, or you think that's a lark?
If you would like to investigate, the best that I can tell you, from as far as I know, from the, as you say, many acolytes and devotees that I have and servants, as far as I know, the land is just tainted with several gods, several beings who seem to have wanted dominion here at some point. They care for each other. They look forward to seeing the growth of the new communities they've come in. Rather droll, if I'm being honest.
Huh. No particular other questions then? I'll look into it.
I hope you have fun, and I'm sure I'll see that face soon enough. Just disappears. The rest of the party, you are able to wake up, no issue. Like, everyone has long rest. Everyone recovered everything. If you were hurt at all, which I believe DD was very hurt last time. There was like 6 health points or something. But I think DD, you had also wanted to do one more spell before you went to bed. I think was the last thing we had decided in a previous session, because you've been doing that pretty periodically as we've been. So roll me a d10.
All right.
I'm gonna see how this one turns out.
9.
So you start transcribing a spell, and you see the text, because you're typically going through the whole process of ritual casting, comprehend languages, and you start speaking, and it's old abyssal, but the sounds are just terrible. Like they're the sounds that like you would imagine an adult makes to sort of scare a young child. They're attempts at sounds of being scary that might be an actual abyssal language, but they're just, the translation is terrible. The grammatical structure does not come together very well, and you're pretty certain that you've, oddly, of all the spells in this, found something that perhaps a paladin might have used at one point.
Okay.
But as you sort of do the final transcription of the last words, you find that you start emanating a little aura of light and energy around you.
Cool. This isn't as bad as some of the other ones, although I did like Gauze Bear. What did I manage to transcribe as the light is emanating from me?
So I would imagine the nice way of thinking about this, so that you discover the effects, is as you go, probably just to like take a drink out of your water skin, you immediately find yourself retching it out because it tastes terrible. Like it tastes like someone suddenly imagine like if you ever had to drink from the tap that's very poorly filtered water of any kind.
Yep.
You realize the spell should be Aura of Purity. You seem to have transcribed Aura of Impurity and have immediately caused terrible things to appear in this water, and it tastes foul. It tastes like someone like has poured a whole chunk of sand and made the water murky. It tastes terrible.
I'm not gonna bother transcribing that.
It's like, this was a mistake.
I will spend the resources needed to do it, but I am not, like, I'm crossing it out of my book.
It's like sometimes you get a winner. That is not one of them.
Yeah, like all the other spells I've kept, this is the one I'm purposefully like, nope.
No. But you all awaken, and Alphenia greets you all with as you're all awakening, you smell wafting through the air, and that wonderfully almost cliche cartoonesque way that the smells of the kitchen sort of just come in and sort of go through your rooms. It's bread. It's just freshly baked loaves of bread. And but you also smell rolls, like these long, sort of almost like oval extended rolls of bread. And that you see Alfenia is just sort of like in her squat little rock gnome form, just running around with a whole bunch of like a little energy. Seems to be a little bit older, but just always like essentially imagine her with the energy right now of if you've ever seen someone at a crosswalk or like trying to cross a corner on the street who's jogging and is just jogging in place like while they're waiting to keep running down the street. She has that kind of energy going through her the entire time. She's like, hello, hello, I have bread, I have rolls for everybody. Hello, hello, dears. How are you doing this morning? And oh, hello. Bashfully looks away from Dee Dee, but also hands you a plate of rolls as well. And you see
I'm gonna take a very small bite first to make sure the aura's worn off.
it is worn off.
Okay, and then I start eating the bread.
Yeah, you see it's sort of it looks like it's just supposed to be sort of an ovular, like relatively flat roll of bread, but you see sort of corkscrew through the direct center of it is almost a spiral of cheese that is kind of almost like it's very melty. It's very melted, and it's almost has like a kind of like a fluffy almost kind of texture to it. Like it's very light, and just a little bit salty, but it's quite filling. And you see on the other among some of the other trays that she's sort of just bringing out to everyone, she goes up to Azarlath's door and she says, "Oh, hello, dear. Hello. I was wondering, would you care for some bread?"
Like, yes, I would.
Yes. And Azarlath, the moment that you pick it up, like you hold it just for a second, and you have sort of a natural warmth to your body. As the warmth of your hands sort of go through it, you hear a really satisfying, like very crunchy kind of sound to the bread. Like it's hard, but it's not like tough. There's a nice sort of give to it. It's not quite sweet, but it's wonderful. It's fresh. You can tell a lot of time and effort's been put into it. And it's early morning. It's probably like 6, 7 in the morning. So you all get the impression Alfenia probably has not slept very much. And she stayed up making bread and just cooking for everybody. Like, hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's it's a new day. Well, we're gonna see how things are going. And I thought I should let you know. And this is sort of a thing I sort of glossed over during the summary and recap. There was a drow woman who was attacked and almost killed outright. But Azarlath, while you were gone, we had you use some of your magic to keep them alive, or keep her alive. It says, I thought you should all know Julia's fine. She is doing okay. But we've had someone else has happened to come by just to check and help see her off, but has stuck around just to get some information about what might have been happening last night. I thought I should wait and check in with all of you if that was okay. I didn't want to send her off. She seemed quite pleasant.
Yeah, sure.
Is that all right with all of you? Sort of just looking at all of you, like kind of in that like, please don't cause a fuss in my like inn. She's like, like very obvious like sleep and exhaustion lines under her eyes.
Actually, why don't you I mean, we're probably gonna go and explore the city some more and do some other things, and maybe we can maybe if she's a local, she can show us around. And you should probably rest. I mean, we're probably gonna eat out and everything. And I'm sort of like almost as I'm saying it, pushing her in a direction of I don't know where her rooms are.
Yeah, and you see her. She's like, "Well, if you insist, I suppose I'll take a nap." And then you just see her very squat little rock gnome form as she starts heading to the back room. near the like front desk where you entered into the inn, you just hear like the softest, most almost adorable little like thud, and you just see her just like sleeping against the wall, like she's just passed out asleep.
And I sort of look around. Does anybody know where her rooms actually are?
Why do we keep running into people who have a hard time sleeping and who fall unconscious once we tell them they're allowed to? It just seems like an odd amount of power for us to have bestowed upon the world.
I chalk that up to coincidence. Or maybe we just keep running into the same personality of Barkeep.
I think 2 is like a coincidence, but if 3 is a pattern, if we meet another person who is not able to sleep without us saying okay and then they thud against something, I think that's something we should look into. Through demonology or gods or otherwise.
I sort of look for, like, I start fussing through the back rooms to see if there's some place that is like a sleeping quarters, and then whenever I find it, I will get assistance, probably Bo's assistance, in like putting Elfinia to bed.
Yes, you need the gnome whisperer.
Also, I am not a strong person.
I think Bo could handle a gnome.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sorry, I had to. But while you are moving this gnome very carefully, I'm assuming, not just like picking up by like the head or just like, all right, just take the gnome over there.
Yeah, absolutely. She's not, just like throwing them over her shoulder like a fireman's carry or anything like that.
While this is happening, Sochi, you are waiting in the main near the front desk of the inn, and you see them carrying the innkeeper away. If you would like at this time to describe what you look like to the first 2 individuals of DD and Bo, and in turn Bo and DD, feel free to describe yourselves. But Sochi, describe yourself.
Okay, so Sochi is she's a drow. She is very tall, very austere looking, very dark skin, kind of onyx in appearance, with cosmetics applied in shades of gold and red, like kind of gold dusted across her skin, and red applied to her eyes and her lips. Her white hair is dyed with indigo and braided just very elaborately. She's wearing just absolutely a beautiful gown with in like kind of jewel tones with like feather accents, just very, very eye-catching. And she's just sort of like kind of artfully, casually like lounging, taking it all in.
Yes, and at this point, Didi and Bo, after you've very carefully moved Alfenia to her room, you all both, I'm going to say for the sake of comedic effect, you both turn at the same moment and notice that Sochi has taken in all of this exchange, shall we say.
Hi, we are totally not mugging the innkeeper. She is...
No, she was in a bit of trouble. We just took them to their room.
Yeah, are you Julia's friend or acquaintance?
Yes, Julia is in fact a friend of mine. I suppose I have you to thank for saving her.
Well, all of us, and I sort of gesture vaguely in the direction of where Azerlat and Baya are, and I say, but yes, we were the ones who interceded.
Well, in that case, I have to thank you for that. She's very dear to me. So thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm not quite sure what Elfinia has promised you, but she stayed up all night and clearly is in no position to, I don't know, be of service. If there's anything we can do.
Yes, she's an enthusiastic one. Well, you seem to be people of action, and you appear to be new here. And I suppose new people always have things of value to offer, don't they?
I'm quite broke, actually.
Oh no. I'm quite capable of providing for myself, thank you. No, I don't want your money. That's fine.
What are you speaking of then?
More along the lines of services, of stories, of more intangible things.
We used to have a bard in our party. Unfortunately, we had to part ways. Huh.
I do enjoy telling stories, but most of our stories are of things we want to get away from, so maybe not the most easy to bring up immediately.
Fair.
Well, as a matter of coincidence, I happen to be something of a bard myself. And I suppose that I could use a little bit of assistance in a matter that is tangential to the attack on Julia.
What's the matter that you're speaking of?
How familiar are you with the people who attacked her?
We have passing familiarity through two people who worked with the Dragonborn, who have been co-opted, I suppose, into our cause.
Yeah, it's mostly secondhand knowledge what we've heard from these two people.
If I mention these two people as a half-elf archer who is good at lying and a Furbolg sort of berserk person who is bad at lying, would that ring any bells to you? I can also say names. I'm just curious.
So, you maybe have seen them around. They're probably just Sochi, you probably would have known them as just among any number of just random travelers, probably merc types who occasionally come into the city. Nothing in particular stands out. Most of, like, it's the equivalent of being like, oh yeah, that guy who I ran into a store like 2 weeks ago. It's like, that's specific, but really not that helpful in terms of narrowing it down.
Well, it could have been less helpful, but it is information.
Well, before we bribed them into joining us, they told us that Mathura was all-powerful and had control of all crossings northward from any southern part of the continent. And then after we bribed them, they told us they were just joking around. So we don't have we have a span of Mathura's potential power. Also, we watched him vomit tons of lightning.
Yeah. And
yeah.
You see that anytime I'm sort of like fussing with my robes, there's like a little static like cling still there, and I'm just like, God damn it.
Well, Mathura and his ilk are something of a thorn in the side of many in Chantico. And in specific to my family. And after yesterday, it has become a little bit personal. Therefore, anything that I can do to chip away at Mathura's power is beneficial.
I am a little bit curious. I think this might have been sort of lost in the chaos. What is the nature of Mathura's draw, I guess? Like what are people going to him for?
So, to fill in for everyone as well as for Sochi. So, at the end of sort of last session, Alphenia talked in detail saying that part of what Mathura's draw for a lot of people has been sort of building on smaller, minor tensions that have long existed in the community, especially among some of the newer refugee and migrant populations that have come into the region in the years that followed the calamity, a period that Sochi would know very well about, probably having lived long enough to have experienced some of it, where when the divine bird that fuels the very life of all of this realm, when its life cycle was halted, one of the after effects that happened to the continent was that a volcanic eruption took hold of this entire region. But despite the destruction and chaos that caused in the decades that followed, many migrant populations, namely shifters, a lot of drow, some halflings from the south and such, moved into the area and brought with them lots of faith, lots of influence from their particular cultures and practices regarding architecture and adapting to a lot of different areas, particularly a lot of drow with underdark specialties, knowing how to deal with very hostile conditions, and helped rebuild the city. Although some of the older folk who have been in the city for a longer period of time than just the past few decades, there's an element of, the best way of putting it is Mathura is playing a more strong arm case of Cord's teachings here than many are used to. Many who've lived in the city treat sort of Cord as one among several deities who combat is sort of divine, it's holy, and it's a form of creating community here. Mathura's particular take on it, which has sort of gained a little bit of attraction and attention, has been a little bit more violent, a little bit more bloodthirsty, and a little bit more in the realms of like, why should we hold to these older teachings that obviously the newer folks are trying to encourage in us? We've known exactly how Cord's teaching should be. And this has been a tension that's existed in the community for a long time, of various different interpretations of faith, of Cord, of other gods, of Lolth, of Andrea, Illustrae. Mathura's particular influence at this time is sort of building off of that, is sort of exploiting that. And this is a lot of both general history knowledge that Sochi would be able to convey, but also the elements of like the tensions that have existed and building is a lot more particular to Sochi's skill set, shall we say, and that's information that Sochi would be more privy to than other people. The extent to which it's not as though like everyone's like okay with the violence, but there's a sense of like, maybe it's the right way to go from some of the older populations in one of the quadrants of the entire region. That was a lot of info and a lot of talking, but I wanted to give everyone a sense of where we're at. For this is sort of the context for where you as a party are coming into this and what Sochi is able to convey to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you're working from now.
Yeah. So Sochi was basically explaining all that in kind of a very, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And yes, they're religious extremists, they're cultural extremists. And it does the community no good to be infighting in this manner. Wild change very likely does need to happen. This violence is not the way. And as they have harmed my friend, I cannot let this insult stand.
can we do?
Well, you've already come into contact with them. And to be perfectly frank, you're not from here, and the blowback against you won't come back on anyone who currently lives here, should things go wrong.
I'm curious what our nature as outsiders gives us, I suppose. If you wanted to open up sort of a platform to speak about past experiences, that makes sense that we might be suitable. But it sounds like almost something intensely local is happening, and thus we seem, if anything, less suited to it.
It's plausible deniability. I am a representative of my family. We are a family of some fairly recent political power as relative newcomers to this city. And as all newcomers are, we are desperate. Not desperate. That's so tacky. We would like to hold on to that power. And with violence of this sort, newcomers will be blamed. And this includes the drow. This includes any drow who have managed to gain political power. And this includes agents of those families. But with outside agents and with someone like me, who is not particularly known as an agent of my family, I'm the fun-loving younger daughter who performs for fun and entertainment and has a bit of a public persona. It's all a bit of a game of shadows, you see.
Is Mathura just not, I guess, adept enough to blame such groups' actions on locals? Because that would be my first thought, to do that, I mean. Like, are we dealing with somebody who is very good at public speaking but is otherwise strategically an idiot? Or are we dealing with something else? I don't have a picture here.
Mathura is a believer in the ways of strength, the ways of direct combat. And the ways of the back channels are perhaps a little below those of the directness of that cult.
Is that a very roundabout way of saying he's an idiot? Like...
I simply couldn't say.
Fair enough. In my notes, I will write, Mathura is an idiot, potentially. Question mark?
So I guess maybe, as the phrase goes, there's more than one way to skin a creature. So perhaps...
Yes, I won't ask you to fight our battles for us, but any assistance that you can offer in perhaps information, finding us inroads, destabilizing would be appreciated. And I'm sure that my family will find it in themselves to reward you.
Is there not a way to... I mean, is there a way to disrupt just meetings, to disrupt forums? Because that seems like, if he doesn't quite have too many inroads yet, that's a good disruptive tactic, right?
The problem with direct confrontation is that's playing a little into his hands. Directness is, again, inviting combat. And while that may be inevitable, I would rather not play on his terms.
Fair enough.
Are there any leads, or perhaps you said that you could help us a little indirectly? Are there any leads of any kind that we could perhaps follow on your behalf?
So, DM stepping in to help on that end.
Yes, thank you.
So there are a few different leads that you're aware of. One, recruitment has been more subdued, but sort of playing to the way that a lot of getting people's attention works here in Chantico with the way Cord's teachings are taught. Public combat is a thing, and taking a direct approach with Mathura could work, but it might not easily sway people who are enthralled by his skill in combat. However, if you did show that if you were able to convince others in the area that you showed some level of skill, you might be able to bring them sway favor more towards the migrant populations and more towards folks here who are less inclined to believe in him, or who are on the fence about like whether or not they actually believe in this random dragonborn just coming into the city and just trying to like take a really radical approach to things. There are libraries and other oral historians who you are aware of and have contact with, who have been hearing tales of Mathura at times sending a few people to look out in the area towards the statue, which there is a massive statue that just sort of towers along a far back mountain range on the sort of northern side of the region, as a whirling sort of stone snake around the, would be, you know, its right side, it would look like left side to all of you, that holds up in its left hand a stone statue of a condor, that there have been generally mineral deposits and other things being mined and other resources being looked into there. Those are two possible leads. And then also just asking around and seeing what people seem to think of this newcomer. As far as you know, Sochi, there have been people who have been whispering positive, and that his sway of influence is not so much that he literally holds martial command, but that he is socially, a lot of the older crowd that seems a little, that's sort of buried some of the tensions they are anxieties and uneasiness they have had with a lot of the migrant and refugee populations in the region. They're not openly agreeing with Mathura, but there's a sense of like, it's not a big deal. It's going to blow over soon enough. They're sort of doing that kind of approach and just sort of letting him and his buddies effectively sort of take post in the oldest quadrant of the region. So you have mineral deposits, history and library to examine, or just general recruitment, which could involve taking part in some of the local displays of combat. Those are at the very least 3 potential leads you could follow up on from what you know. Each of them could serve their own purpose. You might find people who know more information about what's going on with him. It really depends on what you want to look into.
Okay, I'm going to lay those out.
It's a lot.
We could attempt we could attempt any of those inroads. As I am coming to you and asking for your help.
Before we continue on, we just want to give a quick shout out to Play Scholar for joining the party. Thank you for coming in at this time. And we also have many a punning occurring in our delightful chat. And we promise that our delightful players, perhaps not unlike a murder of crows, will not do anything too rash without probable cause. I love you, chat. Your punning has never ceased to cause me intense merg sounds. But yes, you have at least a few leads. You have just a general exploration of which Sochi would be a very good guide for the city region. It really depends what all of you would like to do. This is very much a moment where the region is open to you to explore and what you want to look into first.
And yes, if all that you require as payment for helping my friend yesterday is a guide to the city, then I will also be glad to help you with that.
That would be very helpful. What do you think? And I turn to everyone.
I'm most interested in seeing how Mathura recruits and trying to disrupt that. Maybe not with direct confrontation, but getting an idea of where the people are coming from and stemming that resource seems most interesting to me, I suppose.
That seems a good a start as any.
It's also typically how our group, and I give Dee Dee sort of a meaningful look, usually starts off doing this sort of thing.
Yeah. Bo, is there last? Any sense of what you would like to do or investigate first?
Bo was like cracking her knuckles and like perked up when she heard like the word confrontation, and then like looked disappointed when she realized they were talking about avoiding it.
You never know.
But like she's like, okay, you know, I'll go along with what particularly like I feel like she sort of imprinted a bit on Dee Dee, and like when Dee Dee like says something, she pays attention to that. So she's kind of like, okay, sure.
All right. Is there left? Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think the same.
Okay. With that being the case, the city is open to you to travel, and there are several, pretty much as you walk through the streets, once again, to sort of give a reminder of just what you're seeing all around you. It is a bright, sunny day. There are no clouds. There is a constant sort of heat that comes up from the ground as the sort of volcanic layers that were left covering the region have left this permanent sort of warmth that, while not uncomfortable, is just ever present everywhere you walk. You see murals depicting various kinds of history of various figures, some drow, some shifter, some goblin, some hobgoblin. You see orcs, you see half orcs, you see various just whole histories being depicted across these, and for very much any of the buildings that have the sort of staircase design leading up to these smaller sort of confined holy, more divinely focused sort of areas, you see whole texts and histories written across the steps in various tongues. And one of the first things you all happen to come across, or maybe come across isn't the right word, more you hear is rowdy, loud banter coming from from one particular direction as you see a crowd of people just all getting super hyped up. And I'm going to say Bo, because you're probably the most experienced and attuned to the particulars of the sound. You hear the sound of fists being thrown, of blades being swung, and you see a whole crowd gathered as there is currently a fight going on in one of the many public courtyards that dot occasionally some of these areas. There appears to be a fight breaking out, and there are people watching with a level of glee and reverence.
There's a fight going on. So
Yes.
What's that about? Is this something that normally happens here?
Lately, this would be one
Is this like actual aggression or sort of like a show thing?
As far as you can tell, this one is less to the extreme that you had noticed earlier, and that Sochi would have been picking up on some spots. This does actually seem to be something sanctioned by community members. You do see that there are certain individuals on sort of each end of what looks like these, again, it's open race sort of platforms, kind of like a courtyard design to it. There's two officials, one on each side, that just seem to be wearing a basic set of like cleric's vestments and robes, a priest's and acolyte's vestments. And you see each of them, the holy symbol that they carry around their neck seems to be a fist holding up a lightning bolt on it that is indicative of Cord's presence here. But you see there are two individuals, one that appears to be a rather squat gnome, and the other is a rather tall, lanky half elf, just in the middle of like throwing punches at each other. And the gnome, despite the difference in height, is clearly kicking the ass of the elf. Like playing dirty, throwing punches, becoming very creative. You just see suddenly, because of the height difference, takes advantage of that and just pops one of them in the behind the knee, and then he just does a uppercut and launches the elf a surprisingly high distance up in the air, and you hear the whole crowd go, "Oh!" The elf appears to be knocked out, but you see the clerics go forward, and you just overhear like, it's all right, Charlie. We know you tried. We know he plays dirty. We know that's why you lost. We know. You just see them casting cure wounds on them, and he's like, I swear I was gonna win. It's not my fault he plays dirty. He spit in my eye. Yes, he spit in your eye, and he also uppercut you 3 feet into the air. You're doing great, Charlie. I promise. You're trying, sweetie. You're trying. But yeah.
So this one's one of the regular Cord.
This is one of the regular fights. This is not open. This is not open like violence and conflict. This one appears to be just a pretty common one.
I watch Bo's reaction to all of it.
Oh, she's watching the fight very interested. Like she's much more interested in the idea of like fighting as entertainment as opposed to, for your own life. So this is something that she's really like wide eyes, and like, how people on the sidelines like will like make like gestures like, oh yeah, right hook and uppercut. Like she's doing that like during the fight. And yeah, this is something that she would definitely be interested in finding out more about.
Whoever is playing music, we can hear it very clearly at this moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Bo, you see a couple of other shifter folk that you can tell. Some of them more like a very prominent red tail fox coming out of their back, near the back end, and another one looks a little bit more like a saber-toothed tiger kind of face, and they're just like cheering on next to you. It's like, yeah, she gets it, come on, throw it, come on, knock him out. Because they're right after this one fight has ended, another set of folks appear, and there looks to be a group of 4 or 5 individuals who are all gathered together, who seem like they're coming in a team. And the other cleric on the other end, the acolyte, sort of just calls out, who here would rise to the challenge of entertainment for Cord? Who here dares to fight?
Yep, I'm looking at Bo.
We just all
I was like, me.
listen.
Who do you desire to fight for glory, for praise, for just generally showing how much of a badass you are? You know, the usual spiel and all of that.
Yeah, but it was like, yeah, you know, I don't really have any god that I want to, you know, impress or anything like that. I would just be fighting because, you know, sometimes that's what you gotta do when things get all bottled up and you want to let off some steam.
And I
Wait a
do
minute.
This.
Fighting stuff, yes. That's the takeaway
Yep.
of that entire thing, fighting stuff.
Yep.
And I'll say at that moment, the two of the shifters who were standing next to you, they just sort of like very gently give a nudge to you forward, Bo. And like, a newcomer, a new one for glory, for Cord. Shall you join us? Do you desire a companion to join you for this fight? Do you desire to fight as a collective? Do you desire to fight for glory?
You know, you're a little bit intense there on that whole glory and cord stuff. I mean, I desire to fight. Yes.
Just points at his holy symbol and is like, does it seem a bit excessive with, you know, this? Like, he seems like he keeps switching back and forth between like a mode of like just trying to hype up the crowd, and then when like it's just the two of you talking, he's like, no, really, like you have to understand, this is pretty par for the course around here. It's kind of why you sign on for this kind of thing.
Oh, well, and you know, I'm not from here. You could tone it down like just a skosh on the whole for cord.
Literally our calling card everywhere we go. We're like, we're not from here. We can't.
We're not from here.
Newcomers, a challenger to be tested in the arena of combat. Like, he's just milking it for all this is worth. And there's a couple of people who seem to have stepped up who look very eager to fight.
So is it just like martial fighting, or can those with magic prowess participate?
You see the other acolyte has come over. A very tall, very demure drow woman with silver and sort of almost like platinum, it seems like almost like dust that's sort of creating a like shimmering glimmer effect in their hair. It's like, oh, no, dear, you have to understand. We enjoy all forms of combat here. So if you're more of the spellcasting kind, don't worry. We let you throw fireballs and things of that sort. Don't worry. If you're interested, if you'd like to get a little bit of attention going, if you'd like to get the crowd excited, if you'd like to make new friends, one of the best ways is just a little bit of fighting.
My eyes widen just a little, because in my mind, I'm like, what's going through my mind right now is I can test all those spells.
I feel like Bo is like, remember the bear one.
Yeah, but yeah, basically in this moment, and I will say, I want everyone to roll me a perception check.
First rolls of the game.
First roll of the game.
I am so perceptive. I see it all.
Wow, I'm really not perceptive.
Wow.
You have the intense guy slightly screaming in front of you, so you haven't
Right.
noticed anything.
I'm really distracted. Like, I'm like, okay, dude, calm down.
It's like super hype, and like the woman, the female cleric who sort of come up next to him, he's like, George, calm it down. Even if you're a newcomer, let her have her piece. All right, Francis, I'll work on it. Glory, fighting, combat. He just goes right back into it, but he's like, 2 volume knob dials down on the volume, like on the sound like intensity, but he's still going the same sort of thing. But I will say with those rolls, Azarlath, you do notice out of the corner of your eye that there is a familiar, tall, muscly, dragonborn figure standing a bit a ways back away from the crowd. And Sochi, you notice the same figure as well, but you also notice that there are a few locals who you've had contact with here before, who you'd heard Mathura might have been looking into. And I'll say you get the sense that, based off of that and just general passive insight for a lot of you, he seems like he's looking for people here. Like you may have found the spot where he's recruiting, or one of the spots he may be recruiting. But as you notice him, the 2 sort of promoters, for lack of a better term, so they don't have to keep saying acolytes and courting disciples, although that's also great phrasing. They say, well, here's the deal. We love showing skill. We love seeing people fight. We love getting the community charged up for something. Here's how it works. You can either come in as a team, come in on your own, or come in trios, pairs, that sort of thing. Goal, knock each other out. Nothing goes to the death. Even if you hit someone with something real hard, we promise we'll heal you up right quick, get you all taken care of, lickety split. Goal is, though, just do your best. Show your skill, show some thought, be creative, jazz it up a little bit. People like the attention. They love knowing that this goes to something greater than themselves. It helps us connect. But so, who can I count on for a fight?
Will you be joining us? And I look to Sochi.
I think I may try my hand at this. I've never... It could be fun.
Maybe we should go as a team.
Yeah, I'm down.
Bo?
Are you sure you don't want somebody in the stands to sort of keep an eye on what's going on there?
No, I'm sure that it'll be just fine.
Do you want to stay in the stands, Baya?
Yeah, that's mostly what I'm thinking.
He was asking it the nice way first, then he's saying the direct approach second.
Because I want to see if in the cheering I can take out... Well, actually, pause, because I realize this might not have been said. In character, have you stated that you noticed a person who might be recruiting, or have you not?
I have not.
I would love to join instead of being in the spectators, because I can see nothing that could be important about being a spectator.
All right. With that being the case, I believe currently, if I put up the correct map, which I have, you are all able to see the Cordic Temple battleground.
It's the red one?
It's the red one.
Okay.
So essentially think of on this map the sort of blue outlines as the edges of the courtyard. You are able to stay within those boundaries. You can go a little bit south, but like essentially the edges of this map, these borders, this is the arena you have to fight in, and you have 5 individuals waiting on the other side who, I'm saying 5 now because I'm about to reveal them, depending on if you fought on your own or as a team. 5 individuals, you are all on the western side. And they are all various races and such. Let me pull up your group. Yes, here we go. You have as follows: a rather strong leopard-looking tabaxi who appears to have a great axe no armor, but a thick, muscular, strong build.
This one?
Yeah. Basically, just think of, I will separate them out, but this is just a general like description of the 5 individuals that you see. I'll move Sochi over. Sochi is right there. And then we are missing, we have Azerlas, we have Bo, we have DD, and oh no, we're just missing Bo.
Which one am I?
You are the, why is it? You are the one that does not have a character image that should be now present on the screen. I believe I might have put that in GM layer. There you go.
There I go.
That is your token, but essentially you have 5 combatants. You have 1, a tabaxi, strong, great axe wielding individual. 2, what appears to be a half plate and shield wearing cleric of Cord. That is a rather tall, gray stone and tattooed bald Goliath. A female drow who appears to have a quarterstaff and appears to be emanating just a little baseline level of almost magical energy out of her fingertips. A half-orc that appears to have a set of blades. And an additional swordsman who appears to have also an instrument that they're playing and entertaining other people with, but they also seem to have joined the fight. So you have your combatants, you have your opponents. Do you accept this fight?
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Alrighty.
So I just want to make a note that on the way to the ring, I'm just going to be kind of like giggling and like waving to people that might know me from performances and stuff on the way to the ring. Like, this is all just like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this.
You're getting a lot of that reaction. You're getting a lot of the like, but she's here. It's gonna be amazing. She's the best. She's so wonderful. We are blessed.
This is gonna be fun.
Great. It's a lot.
I just have my spell book out and I'm sort of flipping through very quickly what spells I want to have.
Yeah, I think Bo is like, she has one of her axes out and she's like polishing it like on the leather of her. She wears like these leather like armbands that kind of cover her whole like upper arm, and she's just like polishing one of her axes on the armband.
Yeah, and you see in return on the other end the tabaxi, just this large, massive, we're talking almost like Final Fantasy VII-esque Buster Sword size great axe. Just like, but mechanically he is actually wielding it with 2 hands, but it looks like he's doing one of these, the very like JRPG, like just holding the thing with 1 hand, like on his back. He's just like has like a very toothy smile, and he has the look of like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fucking awesome. I am so excited. He's got that look.
What are the rules for the bout in terms of the blue lines? Like, is somebody disqualified if they hit the stands?
Pretty much. You just try and stay within the boundaries. That was more just to give you like a arena sort of shape to the map. Like if you have to move your token for a reason beyond it, they won't like automatically disqualify you, but the idea is try and stay within those boundaries. There's sort of this main open courtyard to fight in. Keep it in there so people can sort of like, who are looking from more of the southward sort of end of it, can take delight in it. They don't want the fighting to get other people involved, and they don't want the fighting to go away from where people can see it. The idea is it's public, it's open, it's entertainment.
All right. In that case, as we're walking, and especially as Zochil is getting the attention, I am going to snap my fingers so that my sprite is also part of the battlefield.
Alrighty. So I believe, are we, just quick time check, I think we're at about like hour 15 into this.
Yeah. Whenever this might be a good place to take a pause.
Yeah, I was about to say, if anyone has anything they want to do for preparation for this.
I would like to cast. I think there was. I'm just double checking the duration. But just prior to when we start, I'd like to cast mirror image.
Okay, I'll say for whatever, don't worry about the time limits for it. We're just going to say you're going to get right into the first round of combat when we come back. So if you have any sort of prep spells that you want to do at this moment, anything like you want to rage, you want to like do a bardic inspiration before anything kicks off, you have one round to decide it. What are you going to do? Just let me know, and then we get into it. So mirror image for DD.
Yeah, Bo is actually going to both rage and shift.
Oh, we have not seen this. I don't think we've seen this very many times.
You have not. I don't think I've shifted at all.
There might have been just
You
once.
shifted once.
There's just
Once.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
once. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. We also, before, just so I can say this real quick, Silent Radical, thank you for joining our party as we are about to take a break real soon, but we're getting into some nice combat. But yeah, Bo, you are raging and you are shifting. What does this look like? What does Sochi see? Because we didn't get to, probably for the last thing would just be what Sochi is seeing for everyone. Give a quick description of yourself, but we'll start with you since this is the most like obvious thing that Sochi's gonna see is like, whoa, that stands out.
I think like with her rage, she just kind of like closes her eyes and takes like a really deep breath in and then lets it out. And when she opens her eyes, they're like pupilless. And then the shifting is just like a really gradual, like the front of her face gets longer into like a snout, and she gets like it's not fur, but it's kind of like down across her face. She has like a red stripe that goes down in her the middle of her forehead down to her nose, and she gets well, she's a fox actually, so she gets like vulpine teeth, and her hair, it's usually in two braids down that kind of go down the side. It like fills out more, but yeah, that's what her shift looks like.
So that is Bo. Didi, what does Sochi see 3 illusionary mirror image copies appear of in front of her?
Yeah, so Didi is wearing their robes and has their fancy quarterstaff with the phoenix sort of entwining design, and has just got a determined look on their hobgoblin face, and is just sort of like, you can see gears turning off. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do first turn. This is what I'm gonna do second turn. This is what I'm gonna. Yeah, basically.
It's just it's the calculus thinking face meme, but it's more determined.
Yeah.
All right, Azerlath, what does Sochi see as you're moving in to prepare for this combat?
Yeah, just a very short fire ganassi with the tip of their braided hair on fire, just walking forward very unconcernedly.
It's like, I'm going to fuck some people up.
Yes, precisely. I'm going to set them on fire, and then it'll be great.
This will be great. And Paya, what does Sochi see as the whole rest of the group is getting ready to begin this combat?
Paya is mostly a state of like resigned disappointment that if Bo's modus operandi for fighting is like the sport aspect is more appealing than the survival aspect, I think Paya is the opposite. Paya wants to have higher stakes, but is guilty that he wants to have higher stakes. Nonetheless, an opportunity like this, where it's the choice is sort of taken away from him, he's somewhat resigned to it rather than accepting or, I guess, agreeable to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is business for him, basically.
It's business time. So, with that being the case, you see, let me just run a quick check through this. Okay, got that. And got that. And yeah, you see the drow spellcaster begin casting, just waving her hands with this long staff over her body, and you see this sort of spider-like glistening armor appear all over her. Well, although she doesn't appear to be wearing any base armor, this sort of magical spider-like mage armor is now present all over her body. You see the other one, no, will not be doing anything. Just looks with a smile. Most of them just look with a smile, but Bo, the tabaxi, just looks at you and does like one of these, like cracks his knuckles. You hear a really loud, audible like crack of his neck. Then he just lets out like a really fearsome yell, and he also rages.
Okay.
As combat is about to begin, and we're going to get into this very brawly little move into the middle part of our session.
All right.
So we will be back in about 10 minutes. Give a little break for bio stuff and all that, and we will see all of you wonderful viewers, who I believe we are right now at 13 viewers, which is amazing for us. Thank you all of you who are tuning in. We hope you stick with us for the rest of this session, and stay tuned as we get into more of the brawl in the Cortic courtyards of battle and glory.
All right, we shall be back.
Hello, all of our wonderful viewers who have stuck with us. We are back on. So, before we get into this major combat of epicness in a quarterback battle yard, we need to give just a very quick shout out to Alex Anime and the raid of their party coming into our stream to support us. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've had a couple of different folks who joined the party during this. I believe we have Wiley Hobbit and one or two other folks, and the raid that happened. Thank you so much for sharing some time with us this Saturday evening as we bring it back in and we begin combat. And we begin combat with a swordsman, or rather swordswoman, as you see in a flurry of activity, a half-orc immediately runs 40 feet and gets in range of a Zerlath and is going to use there are 2 attacks to attack you, Zerlath, and then is going to use a bonus action to hit you with the butt of their sword while also giving you an elbow to the face. So, first one is going to be a 22 to hit you. I believe that hits you. That's going to be a 17 to hit you. And then that is going to be a 11 to hit you. So I think only the first 2 hit you, because I think your armor class is higher than 11.
Yes,
I really hope it's higher than 11.
It definitely is. It's 13.
Okay, but you are going to take from as you see this swordswoman sort of bring out a pair of scimitars and just go and just sort of slash against you in 2 different points, 2 different times, you're going to take 12 points of slashing damage as the scimitar cuts across your armor and leaves somewhat of a deep cut, but not too bad. And that is going to be it for the swordswoman's turn. Next, the drow spellcaster is going to start waving their hands, and then you start seeing them flicker entirely out of focus as they disappear.
Can I counterspell that?
You can counterspell it. I assumed you were going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gets immediately frustrated, but also immediately thinks, okay, problem. 30 is going to back down. And with that, we have DD. It is your turn.
Okay. I am going to look at the Drowcaster, and do they, just from a quick look, do they look strong in any way?
They do not appear. They do not appear quite strong. I'll say they're in the range of strength that you have. I'd say from just a glance, they don't appear to be. Strength is not their forte, is the way we'll put it.
Okay. I look at them and cast Hold Person, but I will use my spell secrets to make it a strength saving throw instead of a wisdom saving throw.
That's rough. That is a 10.
That is not my spell DC.
She is held.
And I start moving behind Bo over here, try to just kind of stay out of melee range. And that's my turn.
Okay. That will be it for your turn. We are moving into... Also, wait, where's Bo? I don't actually see Bo's initiative on this.
No, I couldn't get on the roll 20.
Right. That's my fault. Let me roll that initiative for you right now. That is going to be... Yeah, 14. It's actually very well timed. You're going to be right before the Berserker. So I'm going to add your turn right now. We're going to put that dang old thing right there. Do that thing right
I didn't get
there.
to go.
Oh shoot, that is my fault. Sochi, take your turn right now. That was my fault. Take your turn right now.
Okay. Let's see. I am going to. Okay. Yeah, I'm right there. So let's see. There's the one attacking.
There's one attacking Azerlath, your Argonauty friend. Ally, at least at this point.
Yeah, and then who were? Okay. So which one's attacking?
Azerlath. You see someone with rather deft of movement.
Okay.
Quite speedy, wielding a pair of scimitars and seeming to do almost a flurry of blows upon Azerlath in their movements. Hint.
So I want to cast on that one, the fast one, on the strong-looking one, and on one of the magic-y looking ones.
Okay. There is one who is held, so she would not be able to do anything. Wrong one.
I'm going
wrong one, the monk and the magic caster. What are you casting?
All right, I'm going to just kind of barely perceptibly run my thumb along. I have a rapier at my side. It looks kind of more, the scabbard looks kind of more ornamental than anything. But, just kind of taking that out, the edge is very sharp. And doing that with the blood from it, I make a quick little motion and cast Bane.
Ooh, good call. All right, we have Bane, so that is going to be on the Spoker. That is going to be, I believe it's charisma saving, you said?
Yes.
Yes, failed charisma. The charisma save for the evoker is Bane. That evoker is baned. Next, we're going to get to the berserker type. That is a fail. They are baned. And then to the monk type, failed. That is a bane. All three have been affected.
Excellent.
So Bane has taken hold of three of them. Alrighty, and you can feel free to move yourself wherever you'd like. Remember, you have concentration on that.
Yep, I'm gonna stay there for. Oh wait, no. If I do it at second, no, I'm gonna keep at first level. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm gonna stay where I am.
Bo, it's your turn. Where would you like to move? Who are you trying to go up against first?
Okay. So the unfortunate part of using my phone is that I can't see the map on Roll20.
No worries. I can give you, with theater in mind directions, roughly how far away you are from any of the combatants. So just let me know where you want to be moved, and I'll move you. And I'll also do, if need be, the inputs for your attacks. Just let me know what do you want to do, and I'll help you figure out how to do that.
Okay. I mean, I want that tabaxi, so.
It's like, I know what I want. It's like, friend's getting hit by a monk swordsman, someone else is casting magic. No, I'm going for the fucking tabaxi.
Yeah. So I want to get right up in their space and hit twice with my hand axe.
All right. Do you need me to roll that for you? Do you?
I'm gonna try and see if this works. You guys have to tell me.
I'll have it prepped. Okay. Unfortunately, a 13 does not work. It does not hit. While not wearing any armor, this berserker type seems to have the same kind of approach to armor that you do, which is flex on them, essentially.
Oh, okay, fine. But here's my bonus attack.
Also doesn't make it through. It just does like one of these long swoops and just sort of keeps both of the hand axes away, but there's just this big burgeoning smile on his face, and he's just like, come on.
It's fine. Just warming up. You don't get all my best hits in the beginning.
token here. Okie doke. And Baya, you should have access to your token now, but it is now, conveniently enough, it is the Berserker's turn, as he is going to do in kind to you. So that is going to be, unfortunately, he misses with the first one. He rolls a 3. That's not going to work. And then a natural 20. That is, it's going to be pretty bad. So just to keep it simple, I'll keep it just direct. That's going to be 20 points of slashing damage. Cut in half, it's going to be 10 points of slashing damage. So that is the Berserker's turn. He just heaves the giant Buster Sword-sized great axe at you, carves a nice chunk, but you've dealt with this. It's nothing new for you. Azerath, it is your turn.
Yeah, I am going to move back here, and I am going to cast Sacred Flame on this one.
Okay, as a note, if you do that, the swordsman is going to get an attack of opportunity on you for moving out of their melee range.
Yeah, I'm still gonna move.
Okay. However, with a 2, even with their bonus, that's not going to hit you, because with Bane, they assuredly are going to miss.
Yeah.
All right, so who are you casting the Sacred Flame on?
The person I just moved away from.
Okay, they're going to do Dex save. That is going to be 11 plus... 11, come on, where are you? Plus 3, that's going to be 14 exactly. They save from it. They just barely save.
But what about the
Oh,
Bane?
wait, Bane. I just realized the Bane.
Minus D4?
3, that's an 11. Yeah, Bane comes in. The sort of like blood sort of stain from the cut on the rapier that Sochi enacted. You just see sort of the swordsman is about to dodge out of the way, and then you just sort of see like, it's almost like if you had like hardened amber sort of effect just appear, where like the movements get suddenly stiffened from something like deep red, and the Sacred Flame just washes over their body. Like, that hurt. But yeah, that was your movement. That was your bonus action. What are you going to do? Is that it for now? Do you have anything you can do for them? Okay. So now it is time for the other spellcaster. Oh, wait. Spellcaster, that was that one. No, time for the Acolyte of Cord. You see them point. No, you're all too clustered up. They're going to sort of hold up their holy symbol, direct it towards. Let's just roll to see which one of you it's going to go for. That's going to be for 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's going to be Azerath, and they're going to fire in an oddly sniper shot-like fashion. A guiding bolt is going to be fired directly at you, Azerath. However, that is a 6. Even with their modifier, is not going to hit you. At least, I don't think it is. Is it 6?
Well, wouldn't Bane apply
Plus.
as well?
Well, right. That's what I'm double checking just to make certain. So it's 6. So they have plus 7. So that would be a 13, which I think is roughly your armor class. But because of Bane, which is 4, Bane kicks in. The guiding bolt does nothing. We return. We go now to Baya's turn. Last in the initiative, but let's get it going.
But first in our hearts.
I have a multitude of questions. So the status effects that were stated, because they're not represented visually, is the drow held and baned currently?
Yes.
All right. Second question.
Drow's held and baned, yes.
Where does my sprite go on the initiative order, Angela?
Same as your turn.
Awesome. Third question. When does the white-robed enemy...
I didn't put them on initiative, so I'm adding that. They're going to go after you just for the sake of fairness and to keep things going, because I want to kind of keep combat pace going. So it's going to be you, then it's going to be that one, then it's going to be the white robed. The token is a white robe, but it seems to just be a instrument wielder of some kind.
Okay.
So your turn. Baya, what you going to do?
30 feet is my movement. I move 10 feet here, 5 feet here, and then 15 feet here, engaging without incurring any opportunity attacks.
Okay.
At point blank range, I will say, sorry, but you are very flammable. And I will cast Scorching Ray at level 2
Okay.
in their face.
I will say, technically, you normally have to do, because it's a ranged attack, I'd normally allow it, but they're also paralyzed, and I think it just makes more sense that that hits because they can't move. So.
Right. Since I am within 5 feet of them, everything is automatically a crit because they are paralyzed.
Yep.
So
that is going to hurt.
I will. Do you want me to double or roll another 2d6?
It's already added it in when you did the damage total, so I'm taking that amount. So you're doing 17 points of damage with just the first ray. So roll 2 more attacks to see if those hit.
Will continue to do so.
Yep, those all hit. Okie doke.
So, since that crit isn't automatic, do you want me to roll others?
Yeah. We'll say, or we can just double just for the sake of expediency. Okay. But I'm going to tell you right now, they look extremely hurt, and they look like a swift wind will knock them out. Like they're at like 2 health.
With my bonus action, I will say, Sister, once you're done with your spells, do assist us further. This is wonderful of you. And I will employ Bardic Inspiration upon my sister.
Awesome.
Okay.
What die?
D6.
Okay.
I end my turn. As my sprite is going to... I think my sprite's just going to fly and then dash... No, just fly 30 feet vertically, putting them in Overwatch above the field.
Okie doke. It is now the Bardic caster's turn. They... let's double check. Yeah, this should do it. They are going to begin playing a very entrancing, almost hypnotizing tune, and are going to center it.
Is it a spell?
It is a spell. They begin playing their instrument. It does not come back to your turn. You only have the 1 reaction per turn.
Correct.
So you all become, the folks who are caught up in this are DD, Sochi, and Azerlaf. I need you all to roll me a wisdom saving throw as this hypnotic pattern begins to entrance all of you.
I'm not sure it'll be enough, but I will use my saving face to get, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Does the sprite count as an ally?
I would count it.
Okay, so to add a +5 to that, so that would be...
Fortunately, that is the DC is a 14. So right now, basically, Sochi, you brush it off like a champ. Like, you play much better songs than this. You've heard better tunes than this. You've performed better than this. The pattern just doesn't seem to take effect in any way. However, for Azerlaf and for DD, it's so entrancing and it's so pretty. You just feel kind of stuck. And you are charmed and incapacitated to the point where until someone does damage of any kind on you, you cannot take a turn.
And also... Oh, I have Bardic Inspiration. Shit, yeah. I will...
You could do...
I will
I'll
roll
allow
my
it right
D6.
now because you remembered.
Oh, fuck, no.
Not enough. Not enough.
That could have saved me! I'm at 12 now.
You all hear that being shouted as suddenly it's like, that could have saved me.
Then whole person will wear off then if I'm unable to concentrate.
Yep, the evoker, the drow spellcaster is now suddenly able to move and also has a hobgoblin in front of her. But Sochi, it is your turn. As a note, as you likely would be experienced enough to know this spell, you can take an action to shake someone awake if you want to, but you see that the bardic caster, interestingly enough, is a half orc who's just playing and looks like they have a very charming, happy, like yes smile going. Still seems to be focusing on it at the moment, like they're drawing their attention to the ones that they've affected.
So I'm going to reach out and shake. I don't have a coin to flip.
I go next.
Okay. I'm gonna reach out and shake Dee Dee.
Okay, Dee Dee, you can feel free to describe how you wake up Dee Dee. Is it like,
and
or is it just like
that's an okay? Is that an action or is that a
that's an action?
Oh no. Okay.
Take your turn if you wanna. If you wanna take your turn.
I'm telling you, you would know this with your, because this is also a bardic spell, and I think you're a high enough level that you'd have experience with it.
Okay, because I can.
You would know it would take like an action to do that. Like out of character, you would know mechanically it would take an action to wake this person up.
Okay, but if I knock out the spell, then they wake up anyway, right?
Yes, if you can break the concentration on the bardic spellcaster who is currently involved, you would be able to break the concentration.
All right, I'm going to turn my attention to the bardic spellcaster and hold up my hand and say, "You call that playing? I've heard better playing by a 2-year-old just learning for the first time. Boo." And I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery.
This is possibly the weirdest spell ever, but I love it. And it works. Oh my god, it works.
Boo.
Why of that of all things is that what works?
Boo, nerd, boo.
Okay, so they turn to you and they have this look of like, that hurt me so much. However, they roll a 15 plus 15 plus 1, 16. They meet the DC, so they're still concentrating on the spell.
Shoot.
But you did damage them. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn? You still have a bonus action and movement.
Bonus action. I don't suppose shoving someone is a bonus action.
I'm going to say no, but I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Okay, bonus action. What can I do as a bonus action?
You are a bard, don't forget.
Okay, I'll show you how it's done. And I'm going to cast Bardic Inspiration on Bo. She has a little hand drum at her side, and she starts drumming it. Ayer conocí un cielo sin sol y un hombre sin sueño.
I love you, Lauren. This is why I love having you.
It's old school Shakira. I love it.
My favorite novel.
I was like, wait, why do I recognize that?
I recognized it.
Okay, that is your amazing turn. Okay, it is now the monk's turn. Seeing that, the swordsman's turn, but just telling you out of character, it's a monk that I've reskinned as a swordsman. They're going to run, and they are going to go and try and deal with Paya, as Paya is currently dealing with their spellcaster ally. The monk is going to take... Yeah, what the hell? Let's burn some key points on this. This is going to be a flurry of blows on you.
All right.
So that is
My
going
AC
to
is
be...
listed.
Yes, AC is listed, which was 12. So that's going to be 13 plus 6, so that's 19 minus 2, but that's still 17 to hit you. That's one hit. That's going to be 6 plus 6, that's 12, but that's 1, so that misses you by exactly 1. That is going to be 20 to hit you, -1, so that's 2 hits. And then the last of the flurry blows, that's going to be a 14 to hit you, -4. So because of Bane, 2 of those do not hit you. 2 of those do hit you. So in a flurry of scimitar whirling blades, you take 12 points of slashing damage. And I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
All right. I am passable at that, but
Yeah, the swordsman tries to turn around with its last blow and like elbow you and then try and like trip you to knock you prone on the ground with sort of the open hand as they go forward to hit you, but it doesn't work and you are able to hold true and to your feet.
with my reaction, I will say, "You seek to introduce me to earth, but I shall introduce you instead to fire." And he catches on fire. Make a dexterity save.
That is 17 plus 3. So that is 20. So that is going to be 6 points of damage. Yeah, damn. That's rough. That was that one.
It's a higher level cast, so the total is 19.
Oh, right. So it's 19, so that's going to be 9.
Yep.
Okay, so that is going to be... Monk's starting to look hurt. Alrighty. Now the Evoker, the Drow spellcaster, is going to... Alrighty. They're going to blow their big spell that they have. Let's see. They call out to, you see them sort of weave their hands together, and there's sort of a spider-like silk strand that appears from the ends of both of their fingers. They wrap it around repeatedly in their hands until you get this sort of sticky red-orange bead of energy that they then fling in the direction of Sochi, Didi, and Azerlath. I need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw as this fireball is being chucked at you.
Pardon, isn't he held?
Oh, no,
No
wait,
more.
wait.
Oh.
No, because Didi dropped concentration from being hit with the hypnotic pattern.
Gotcha.
Oh no.
3.5, 7, it's 28. Yeah, you all passed. That's going to be 14 points, well, except for Sochi. Sochi, that's going to be 28 points of fire damage.
Oh no,
Ouch.
that's all my hit points.
Oof.
And that is 14 points of fire damage to everyone else. But Azerlath, because you are Fire Ganassi, you are resistant to it, so it's only 7 points of fire damage.
So they no longer have Bane. I'm down.
Alrighty. They are also going to get away from the burning, scorching rays. They're going to risk an opportunity attack from you, Paya.
Oh, okay, cool. I will shank them immediately. I will use Saving Faiths and bump that up to 11.
Unfortunately, with the mage armor that she cast earlier, she has enough to avoid it. She doesn't have a high AC, but she avoids it.
I am sad.
It is your turn.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes, it is your turn.
So, am I still charmed or no longer charmed?
You took damage, so you are no longer charmed.
Okay.
Well, also, Sochi woke you up.
Oh.
Oh, no, wait, no.
No, I
She
didn't.
didn't.
No, she didn't.
But the damage wakes you up. Basically, for anyone who was charmed in that range, you would have been woken
I
up.
am going to see the very hurt caster, this one, right?
Yes.
And I am going to I'm gonna dole the dead with something I'm totally stealing from my in-game thing. I'm gonna be like, shame! Hopefully that might increase. Oh, this is not a 1!
Oh my god, this never happened.
Wow.
Didi actually did damage. Oh my god. And Didi, I rolled for the evoker, which is the stat build that I'm working off of for this. I rolled an 8.
They take 12 damage.
Nice.
As you do, shame. You just sort of see her just very slowly like do one of those like very like movie feints where it's just like The drow spellcaster is down.
And I am going to. That was my action. I'm going to not clump up. I'm sort of like, wait, why are you all following me? And I'm gonna go over here.
Okay.
And hope my mirror image saves me.
Oh wait, yeah. Does mirror image apply to area of effect attacks, or is it only single target attacks?
I'm gonna quickly look at the spell, but technically it should. I'll just roll
It might still
a
be in
d20.
effect. We almost forgot about that.
Well, I have to roll a d20 to see if it catches one of my.
It does catch one of yours. Yeah. So take back the fire damage because you did pass it. So take back the 14 fire damage you took because that would have hit one of your images. We'll rule that's fair because we did remember, and that was something I forgot, and we caught it in time. So.
Yeah.
Bo,
well, it was just one source of damage, so I just go back to full hit points.
Okay, so Bo, you're up.
Okay. Okay. Bo is she's gonna like rock backward on one leg and swing her right axe at the tabaxi.
Alrighty.
And I think I can do this. Am I working? What happened?
Do you need me to roll for you?
Let me just see if I can get it. All right, I think I can get it.
That is gonna hit.
Okay.
He is partial damage from that, you see, as the rage appears to be
Sure.
in some of his blows.
Yes. Yes, Bo knows these things.
Bo knows all.
And then she's actually going to do something different. You can tell me, Angela, if this is not allowed, but it does say that if for her bonus attack, if the weapon has a thrown property, I can throw it instead of making a melee attack with it. So Bo wants to actually, this is why she took a step back, throw it at the one who charmed the three of them in the corner.
Okay. I would allow it, and also I can tell you right now from where you're positioned, you could just move over 5 feet and you would be able to not leave the melee range of the tabaxi and still get in range of the bardic caster. Just as a note to you, you would be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to disengage from them, so I will stay in that.
Yeah, you're good.
range.
You can make the attack against the bardic spellcaster. I'll just move you into range. That definitely hits. They are very squishy.
Yes.
They do not have a lot of armor. All right. That it for your turn, Bo?
That is it.
Okay. Now we turn to the berserker, who is going to just hack away at you. That is a 4. That does not work. That is a 9. That does not work. Nope. Oh god, I keep forgetting about this attack. I should really do that more. Nope. I already called it. Zarlath, you're up.
Okay.
Sophie behind you is down as a heads up.
Yeah, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on Zochi. Okay, hold on a second.
They snipe, but they also protect.
I'm gonna do it at level 3.
Yeah, that's going to be 11 points of healing to you, Sochi.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm also gonna cast Healing Word on myself as a bonus action.
You technically
Can I
can.
do that?
Yeah, you cannot do that technically
Okay.
because you cast a spell as your action. You can't do a level spell as your bonus action.
Okay. Then I don't do it.
Generally, really, the only way you can do another full leveled spell is if you have something like haste or an action surge.
Okay.
Or cantrip.
Or cantrip.
Or yeah, that's what I was tripping me up. Okay, so then I am.
No worries. Okay. On a similar note, the Acolyte of Cord is going to do the exact same thing. Or at least, well, how much does he? Probably figures, you could get to him later. Yeah, DD. You see this Goliath cleric in half plate with a shield put their hand over their holy symbol, and you see almost like a spark of lightning start coalescing around their hand and then forming into a red, orange, and blue bead of energy.
Counterspell.
I figured you were going to do that. I just wanted to get the description off before you counterspelled my fireball again. It's like, damn it.
Counterspell.
Every spellcaster who has access to counterspell at some point is just.
Oh, I was gonna let you finish because if it was like a single target thing, I probably would be like, that's fine.
I mean, it looked like it was going straight in your direction only. So it was single target, but it's a fireball, so yeah.
So wasteful.
Wasteful, takes care of a spellcaster. But Vaya.
All right, I'll have Sprite fly over here. Actually, over here, just to be safe.
Okay.
And then, I am going to. This guy being up is problematic. This person is still prone, or do they stand up?
Ooh, which one?
The drow.
Oh, they're still down. Like, no one's been healed. They haven't been healed yet. She's still down. Like, she's considered, like, out of the combat until someone heals her. But the cleric that they have on their side decided to go DPS, essentially. They're doing what a cleric should truly do.
All right. In that case, I am going to. What should I do? I guess I will EV the bard twice. 2 blasts.
That's gonna hit.
And neither of them are Hadar blasts, so they'll just stay in place, doing 14 points of force damage.
Yep, that. Oh boy. Oh no, my bardy gal is looking really hurt.
As a bonus action, I'll say, as a courtesy, could you please finish them off and give Bo a bardic inspiration?
It's the most polite bardic inspiration. It's either the most condescending or the most polite for a bardic inspiration. Okay. The bard, looking very hurt, but is going to turn in the direction of you, Paya, with you having just Eldritch blasted her, is going to say, "Hey you, why don't people like to eat jesters? Because they taste funny." And is going to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on you.
All right.
You need a wisdom saving throw. The DC is 14.
I have no idea. That is a terrible joke.
On brand.
Knock them unconscious immediately.
Well, there you go. And that's how we continue with hilarity. You hear a very tiny, like very gruff but like slightly like sheepish orcish voice say, "Well, fuck." Sochi, you're up. You're prone, so it'll take you half your movement to get up, but you're able to move again because the cleric healed you.
Yay, thank you. Okay, so she gets up, looking not as put together as before. Her hair has come out of the braids and looking askew and a little bloodied, a bit bloodied. And let's see who's still up. It's the bard.
The bard is looking really hurt.
Okay.
The swords, the monk is looking very hurt, and yeah, and the drow's down. It's looking like the bard and the monk are essentially the ones who are the most hurt. The bard is looking extremely hurt.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the bard. And I'm going to say, "And you thought you could best us," and cast Vicious Mockery.
I really want this to fail. Sadly, it does not fail. It's a natural 18. I look better than you do. At least if I go down, I look better than you do. The bard's just be getting to the point of being hurt and catty where we're at. You have a bonus action if you have anything else you can do.
Yeah, I do. Let's see. I'm going to cast Bardic Inspiration on who's fighting over here. Shoot, you can't see where I click.
Here?
No,
here?
Yes.
That is Bo.
Yes.
Okay, I had already
Baya already gave me Bardic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next one you could give Baya Bardic Inspiration as they fire Repulsor Blast, Eldritch Blast to different people.
Bardception.
The bard is inspiring the bard.
Yes, I love it.
Previous game, there was a lot of bard inspiration going on.
Okay, again,
You're
she
the
starts
best. Nah, you're the best.
drumming. Yo, te di todo mi amor y más. And yeah.
Bardic Inspiration to Baya. That is going to be your turn. That is a D8 at your level. All right. It is the monk's turn. Try and have them side. Yeah, they're going to keep going for you, Baya. So the monk is going to try and take a flurry of blows at you. That is a 10 plus 6. That is 16. That is 12 plus 6. That's 18. That is 19 plus 6. That's 25. And that is 9 plus 6. That's 12. That is, I believe, 4 hits. So that is going to be 8, 9, 4. That is 29 points of damage to you as you just see a flurry of scimitar slices and then elbows and kicks to you all across your body.
Inspired, I fall. I hit 0.
The lock is down. The bard lock is down. That's it for their turn. Drow's down. Dee Dee, you see Baya fall.
I'm gonna look at the monk, and I'm gonna do this again, hoping that, superstition, it makes my damage good. Shame. And I told the dead.
Oh,
I am always
Oh.
gonna do this now.
You only needed to invoke shame upon them to make it work. That was the key ingredient. Also, DD
They
rolled a
saved.
4
Oh, 18
plus
health
3. And the monk only had 17 health points. So you knock out another person with shame. Oh my god, that is amazing. I love that. Oh god. So down goes the monk. So you have a spellcaster and the monk down. The bard is very hurt.
Can you mark them with like an X or something?
Yeah, I will mark them right now.
Awesome.
I was doing that earlier because I was bored. Sorry, not bored. Sorry.
Don't worry, I'm very hurt and I won't take it against you in retribution in any way possible.
That's actually what confused me, Miriam, because you drew the X and then it got removed, and
Because I
Angela
thought-
hadn't said anything about them.
I didn't remove it.
I removed it because it's like, oh, you brought them up, and I was like, oh, you didn't bring them up.
Nope.
Yeah, so I took that as like, why are they up if nobody on screen brought them up? I guess they're up. I have to put them down again. And Angela's like, no, they're still down. And I'm like, I'm so confused.
They have been marked with an X appropriately so that the ones who are knocked out currently are actually knocked out. It is Bo's turn. Bo, you are on each side. You have the bard you have the clown to the left of you, and you have the foaming joker to your right.
That's a song, isn't that? She's gonna do the same thing she did last time, like one hit to one hit to the other, but she is gonna reckless attack this time around.
Oh boy, time for my bard to die.
Right.
Whenever Bo gets reckless, it gets bad.
So reckless counts on both attacks?
Yes, reckless will go through to both attacks. You will just get advantage on you, but it goes through for both attacks.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Hold on.
Also, Bo, I just realized you're level 5, so you have 2 attacks naturally, and you have your bonus action attack. Have you been doing your 3 attacks?
I have not.
Okay. Good
Thanks
to know
for letting
going
me
forward.
know.
Good to know going forward. Was this first one against the berserker or against the bard?
This is against the tabaxi.
Okay, so that is 4 points against the tabaxi because of rage.
So this will be my second attack against the tabaxi also.
Oh, both of them are going against. Oh, right, because you're doing the 3 attacks. Okay,
Yeah.
so the second one against the tabaxi with advantage. That is going to hit. There's another 4 points. The tabaxi is just taking the blows.
Yeah. Bo knows how that feels. And then her bonus attack is against the other one.
That hits.
All right.
Bo, you just hear the faintest, for as charming and as like still relatively muscular, though not actually very strong as the bard is, you just hear a very tiny beep, and you just see them just get clocked by your axe, and they're just down.
Yep.
The bard is down.
Awesome. Oh, also, I probably goes without saying, since this is like a stage fight, that she is doing non-lethal damage.
Yes.
Okay.
That much is made clear. I'm assuming non-lethal for all of this, even with the magic. I'm not doing the checks because the clerics, even if you do like terrible damage, will immediately intercede and heal them if anything looks like it's remotely in the range of lethal.
Okay.
So yeah,
And that's her turn.
That's her 3 attacks.
Sure.
That now it is. I was gonna have them go reckless, but it doesn't have to because you went reckless. So that's advantage. That's 24 and 24 again. Okay, that is going to be d12. I never get to roll this d12. So the first one, 10 points of slashing damage, and then 14, so that's 24. So that's 12 points of slashing damage between the two great axe swings.
Okay.
Alrighty. Azerlat, fire cleric. It is your
Okay.
turn.
I'm gonna cast Sacred Flame on the last one up.
Oh, on the cleric, who's the one who's not the berserker?
Yeah.
Because there's a cleric and the berserker who are up.
I'm gonna go for the healer then.
Okay. The quote-unquote healer rolls a 3. So with their bonuses, that is going to hurt them
Yeah.
pretty bad. Yep, that is a lot of radiant damage going at them.
Okay. And then can I cast Healing Word on Baya?
You can.
Okay, cool.
That is a legit thing that you can do. Cantrip spell.
I'm gonna cast it. Okay.
Okay.
I am no longer oofed.
Yeah, that's big enough range. Once again.
Oh no.
Oh wait. No, do they have the spell slots? I need to double check. No, they don't have the spell slots for it. Okay, can't do lightning fireball. Damn it. I'm so sad. I wanted another lightning fireball, but one good turn deserves another. Nope. Another guiding bolt fired at the cleric, and it does not work. Even with an armor class of 13, this cleric cannot hit a damn thing. Maya, it is your turn.
All right, I'm going to have the sprite actually fly downward here, and I'm going to say, give me a reticule, and have it use the help action to give me an aiming reticule, at which point I'm going to Eldritch Blast with advantage, and then Eldritch Blast normally.
Okay, the first one hits, the second one doesn't. And this is full damage because they are not resistant to force damage.
All right, 5 points of force. And I will exert the Feet of Hadar to pull them 5 feet closer.
Okay.
And by 5 feet, I think I mean something else. It might be 10 feet, but let me check.
I think it's 10 feet.
Yeah, 10 feet. I will pull them 10 feet closer to me.
Okay. Is that it for your turn?
And then I will run away.
Come here. No, flee. No, flee.
I end my turn.
Okay, the bard is down, unfortunately, but the other bard is now up. Xochi, it is your turn.
Okay. Let's see. How many people do we still have up of the bad guys?
And the Cordic cleric.
Okay. I am gonna make a circle above my head with my hands and I'm going to whisper something under my breath that I haven't figured out, even though I've been thinking about this for the whole time.
This happens.
I am going to cast Crown of Madness on the Berserker.
Oh boy. Ooh. This is going to be bad. Yeah, that's going to be bad. That's only a 10. With their save. Yeah, they only have a +1 to that save. Okay, your choice within range becomes charmed by you. While the target's charmed, must use its action before moving to make a melee attack against a creature other than itself that you mentally choose.
I really don't like their cleric.
Okay.
You know what to do.
Alrighty. He suddenly stands to attention. He's been sort of looking the entire time at Bo, just with like a mixture of like of like feral ferocity, but also like a low key. It's like intense, but also like respect. But now he suddenly like turns, like he's like at attention. He looks towards Sochi, and then he sort of just like nods. He's like, he seems very ready, dutifully set to do what you need him to do.
Get her. Her? Them?
Yes, I believe I said her or them.
Get her.
He just nods, like very like repeatedly. And I believe
Goes to me.
that is it, unless there's anything else you're doing for your bonus action.
That's it.
Okay. Art is down. Drow spellcaster is down. Dee Dee, you're up.
I'm gonna look at the healer, and I'm gonna do the thing that's been doing me well. Shame.
Shame. Oh my god, that's a. Why is it only on these? It's a 2. Why? Why on these? I don't understand. This makes no sense. We are nerds. Shame is our weakness. I love you. I love you, Aunt. There's nothing else you can do for your bonus action, or if you want to move Dee Dee, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna move the fuck away because I don't want to get into range of like spells that are nice and clumpy.
That's fair.
Actually, here, I think, yeah.
Yep. Bo, it's your turn.
So, Zoto, which you charmed the tabaxi
The berserker.
or the
Yeah.
other? Oh, the berserker.
Yeah, he's
Berserker. The tabaxi.
Yeah, okay. Oh. I think Bo is going to move forward, and Angela, you'll have to do it for me because I can't do.
Yeah. Who are you trying to move forward to?
To the one that's not the tabaxi.
Okay. The cleric, who
Yes.
I will note for the record is looking real hurt right now.
Yeah, so Bo is going to take her swings at that guy. Or
Yeah, it's her.
person.
Don't worry. Yeah, it's a female Goliath. She's
A
relatively
female,
androgynous because she
okay.
has a bald head and just tattooed all over the place.
at them.
It's relatively androgynous.
Okay.
Okay, take your swings.
So-
What happens? Are you doing
First-
reckless attack? Quick question.
No.
Okay, so that first hit does not, because this cleric is wearing a half plate and is using a shield. They bat away the first axe swing with the shield.
Okay, that's all right. 2 more coming at her.
Second swing goes. The half plate deflects the blow. 1 more.
Wow. All right. What's going on, Bo?
Sadly, still doesn't. They
Really?
just shove you back. Their armor class is 17.
Wow. Oh, okay. All right.
They're a cleric
That's
who
cool.
focused on armor.
That's fine. Okay.
They beefy.
All right.
They're a very beefy cleric. It's a very beefy
that-
armor.
That is Bo's turn.
Okay. The berserker is going to run at the cleric and is going to take 2 swipes at the cleric because he doesn't know better. Average damage, the cleric's going to go down. And I'm going to say with that, because between all of your spells and everything,
Oh, I did. I missed that bio. Thanks. I wish I'd remembered that.
I'm going to say right now, between all of your spells, like the tabaxi on the next turn breaks out of the crown, but when he looks around and he sees he's the only one against all of you who are still up, like he snaps out of the rage and he just sort of like points the great axe down. And he nods. It is at this moment that while all this combat has been going on, like there have been cheers occasionally at the beginning of the battle, but for so many different moments, like when Baya went down, there was like these like different moments of like, oh, like a lot of those different moments. Whenever Bo was doing anything to hype up the crowd, there'd be like a yeah sort of moment. And then like right at this end, as they saw the Tabaxi like stop the rage, there was like this like very like everything for like this block just suddenly got very quiet. And then there is a grand cheer and applause from everyone in the crowd. Huzzah! And the two cleric promoters come out and they immediately start like just like Azarlath, you recognize this as healing word, but it's the most like almost perfunctory a healing word's ever been done. It's like, yeah, get up, heal you, divine stuff. Yeah, fine, get up. Like everyone gets up, and like one or two when they're going by one of them, they get like the good job, buddy, kind of like pat on the back, and it's cure wounds, but it's like again, it's the most like perfunctory like sort of version of them doing it if they're not calling out the healing. I like, and now our champions of combat.
Xochitl does she flips her hair and does a curtsy to the crowd.
Bo like raises her axes and like crosses them over her head and like does like this like posturing.
I just stare at everyone.
Yeah, same.
Paya occupies space.
And there is a loud cheer from the crowd as like the promoters like they keep hyping all of you up. There's grand cheers and everything. And all the people, all the folks that you fought, just sort of one by one, like get up and they walk over to each of you, and they sort of give like a congratulatory sort of like nod. And there's a look of like sadness on their face that they lost, but there's a sense of like, that was amazing. I've never actually been insulted for pain, man. This has been a while since that's happened. Like you get comments like that. It's like, huh, never seen anyone do that with spellcasting before. Normally that's supposed to hit my mind. Huh. Also, thank you, Roll the Roll, for hosting our stream. And also we just had, oh wow, yes, we had a major raid, Roll the Roll, with 11 additional people throwing down a raid to come and join us. Thank you so much. We are blessed to have you joining in on this. As this all happens, there's a genuine sense of like, yeah, you beat the ever-living shit out of each other, but there is no hard feelings. There is this huge level of respect and cheer, and it's interesting, like you see like little kids to like older folks of like drow, dwarves, tabaxi, shifters, like various folk who just genuinely like, while someone looking from the outside might see it as a sense of like, oh, they're just indulging in violence and praising it, for a lot of them there's this genuine look, and Sochi, you would know this the most, there's this sense of like, we bring happiness, we bring entertainment to each other, we revel in this. It is praise. There's combat is divine is probably the best way of putting it. And I'll say whoever has a passive perception of at least 14, you do see out of the corner of your eyes, the Dragonborn is just sort of staring at all of you for a second with like a look of just sort of hatred, but then sort of turns around and just walks away. And there's a lot of praise, there's a lot of fanfare. People come up to you. There's a lot of like little kids, a couple of like small like young shifter kids just come up and they're like, hey, you're really awesome. I really like you. Like, that was really cool you did with your axes. Can everybody do that? Can I corrupt and be like you? Like, they're really great. And there's you have a lot of like those little kids, and a couple of them, like you see some goblins and some dwarves, like just going up to like DD and being like, okay, I see you. And they're one or two of them, not in a way where they look like they're gonna steal from you, DD, but in a look of like, it's a pretty filled out spell book. Okay, you know some things. You know, and just sort of like walking away, like there's a little hint of jealousy, and there's some clerics and such who are looking around, and there's like a nod of respect towards Azerla. And Sochi, as this is all happening and there's sort of a crowd, there will be some conversation to be had with one of the individuals. But before anything else, if there is anything, because the crowd does give you a moment, the two promoters give a sense, is there anything any of you would like to say? The Tabaxi Berserker sort of passes a note. Well, actually, the monk passes a note to you, Sochi, and the Berserker just sort of goes up, gives like a firm handshake to Bo, says, if you'd like to talk sometime, I would love to meet. My name is Arden. Nice to see another barbarian here.
Bo, like her shift is melted away, so now her face looks fully human, and she's like, "Yeah, nice to meet you. That was good fighting."
I have great respect for those who can actually, you know, their money where their mouth is. Or in this case, their blood where their mouth is.
So Bo takes his hand. It's he.
Yeah,
Arden is
Arden.
Bo takes his hand and shakes it and says, "Let's get a drink sometime. I should be here for a little bit at least."
Pleasure. If you need an ally while you're here in the city, you have earned Arden's respect. Let's get a drink sometime. And he heads out, and you can tell very faintly out of the corner of your eye, Bo, that he, in a couple of the spots where you hit him while he's walking away, just very subtly, he starts doing like one of these, like, oh, damn it, she hit it harder than I thought. Like, there's definitely a sense like you haven't in any way like hurt his ego or anything. There's just a sense of like, damn, she's good. There's just a sense of like almost like high level of respect. And oh my lord, we have been cheered for the first time on stream, I believe. Manic Pixie Girl has cheered in 10 bits. Thank you so much. You are so
awesome.
Thank you.
This is the first time we've had this on stream. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support. The VTTP is so thankful, and all of us are. But Sochi, to get back to you, you see in the note that is slipped to you by the monk, if you take a moment to like move away from the crowd, which I would imagine being the kind of person and work that you do, you are good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You're able to read that there may be interest in recruiting you for something a little bit more subtle than this, and working a little bit more in the back lines, if you're interested. And it doesn't appear, and it appears to have a phrase at the end of it that I'll say you would know is a statement that sort of a phrase for glory and our community, not for spectacle. A shorter variation of that, but that's essentially what the statement translates out to. The phrasing, I will come up with a better phrasing some other time. But this is one that you've heard from various folks in your circles, of folks who have been trying, of people who've been trying to undercut as quickly as possible Mathura's influence that has been spreading in the past weeks. Just a note. Nothing, no additional word given by the monk. Just passes by, gives this to you, just walks away.
I'm going to pocket the notes. rejoin the group where everyone is, congratulating each other and everything, and get back to mingling and talking to the rest. I had no idea it would be this much fun. Just wow, it was invigorating to obviously the people we were fighting.
It is. As a note for everyone, you are able to get back to the Haven at the inn and have these conversations. So she's able to have this conversation with you sitting down away from the crowds.
Well, yeah, with y'all, it's different, but yeah, with the people we were fighting. But yeah, just that I had no idea it would be so invigorating. I feel like I could do this more often. This was amazing. It was wow. But yeah, back to whenever we break away from the group and whatever. Yeah. I don't know if y'all are. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just letting you finish your piece, not to interrupt.
Yeah, I'm curious. Do any of them respond? Because
in terms of which ones respond?
The people that Social's talking to.
Many people just seem to like have the same sort of sort of like level of like praise and love and affection and adoration that they all had at the beginning, but seem to be less now about the persona Sochil and more about the odd fighter whose insults seem to wound people and whose magic seems to be effective. And you start hearing just little snippets, all of you, like even with like low passive perception, you all are able to hear little bits and snippets from different people of just like praise for different aspects of the fight. A lot of people talking about Bo. And yeah, there's a certain level of reverence. There's an occasional mention of the name Mathura, but the moment that happens, just a lot of people tend to not like hush it up, like, no, we don't talk about that here, but more like it gets hushed up in the sense of like, he's a pretender kind of vibe. Like there's a sense that like you are the talk of the town or the local event that has just happened essentially. So some of the attention appears to be moving away.
So that was interesting. We are still largely broke. The elephant in the room. So I mean, do we have some gainful employment while we're sort of sowing dissent among Mathura's group? Because if not, I'm going to, I think, press my whole, hey, I'm going to help out at the inn thing more than any adventuring thing we're doing, because we are not making any money.
Yeah, I would assume I could go and scribe for people. Like,
yeah, that is something.
I was gonna look at some similar jobs to Azeralat, of like scribing or mage work.
Okay. I will note it for the record, because even though we started a little bit late, we are getting near the tail end of our session. I'll note for the record that for the next session, as a note, there will be ample opportunities for the folks interested primarily in either scribe work or in taking some time to work around the inn, or should Bo be interested in another combat of some sort on her own, that is also an option.
I mean, actually, I think Bo would probably want to do like some like heavy work, I guess. Like if people need things moved or even like built or something like that, that's like her workout sort of. So and she likes being outdoors too.
Yeah, so you would be able to very easily do that with your public presence having become what it is now. There are many historians and local there are a lot of local historians and oral historians and such who seem keen on the two primary spellcasters. A few who seem interested in Baya, just out of general that was interesting and those were interesting spells. And Bo, should you be interested in that, a lot of the artisans and also some of the designers for the city and such are interested.
So, gang, rough plan. We make enough money to sustain ourselves once the inn stops giving us free food. We keep our heads to the ground to listen for recruitment pitches from Mathura, and we intervene when we gather, and we intervene when we hear something. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a boring plan, but it gets us fed.
I mean, Baya, you haven't seemed like you've been that interested in too much excitement though anyway, so.
Well, we walked down the street and then we had a fight, and so that was today, and then yesterday we came into town, so I'm weary.
Is this Baya talking or is this Ant talking?
No, this is Baya. This is we're new to town. I don't really I'm not fully into the rhythm of it yet, and I'm very concerned about. Put it this way, it's very difficult for me to get interested in things when purse strings are tightening. And I think when purse strings loosen a bit, everything sort of has a brighter, gilded sheen to it, if you will.
This just sounds like out of game. We should be doing some downtime activities.
Yeah, this is a sign that part of the reason I was saying that to set up for next game is that the next session will be a little bit more devoted to a lot more of that downtime and investigating in the city. This was sort of to introduce a new angle for folks. But as we are getting near the close of the session, Sochi, you do receive, I'm not going to say a call, because that doesn't happen, but you do receive a missive that indicates you may be needed back at your home again.
Okay. I'm going to offer to escort everyone back to their, the inn.
Yeah, that sounds good. Also, probably check on Alfina's.
Do we maybe want to find a lead before both the guest has to go and also the character has to go?
You would be able to, out of character for the sake of simplicity, you would be able to pass on the information. And
do we want to wrap it up quickly or slightly less quickly?
I'll say we have about 5 minutes-ish is what we have left. And
once we get back to the inn, so she's going to say that you have all been a great help with just your mere presence. This was a happy accident that allowed her to get something of an inn. So while you're in town, if you have any need, look up the members of the Ihimadi house, which is her family. And if she's unavailable, which she may very well be, let them know that Xochitl sent them, and that she is in their she's in their debt. So
essentially your lead is Sochi. With getting an in with them, will be able to provide you more information when leads come for the sessions onward for however long that you're in Chantico, because of this little in that you were able to provide her with the public event.
Gotcha.
That will be the setup. And also because of the interest indicated by Bo doing sort of the more outdoorsy, strong sort of work, and also the mages being interested in taking a look at different scribing sort of work. You are now, because of this, more known and also slightly interconnected in the community. And as a result of that, there will be ins and leads to follow from that.
Okay.
It will just depend on how we move forward with all of those going forward. But yes.
How do you spell Imadi? Out of character. I'm just kidding.
Okay, it is IHIMATI.
Awesome. Thanks.
And I'm sorry if you hear any weird noises. One of my cats is messing with my audio equipment right now.
It's generally a cat. It's almost always a cat.
Mhm.
But as we approach the end of the session, you all, should you be able to, you can go and take a long rest and begin. We can, or we can just treat that as this is where we will cut the official part of the session, but you can treat it as any other connections and such that you want to make through the town for the scribing work, for the connections to doing the strong work, or just anything else you want to do around the inn, which can include listening in and talking to different people. That might be something more along the lines of what you might want to do to just get both money and other leads coming in. We can have that now with this at the end of this session set up for future sessions, and that'll be sort of a nice way to have it be as we move into the next season and start the fall sessions. You are now more settled in to Chantico to start spreading out for how you might look for more proper leads. Sound good, everybody?
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds perfect.
All right. So with that being the case, we are going to call the session right here because it is, we started a little bit late, but I want to give us a few minutes to do our usual wrap-up spiel. But as a final note, before we get into our little outros where everyone can sort of tell our viewers where we can find you all, I want to say thank you again to the multiple people who rated us. I believe it was Roll and there was Alex Animate. Thank you so much for, I think we had at one point like 24 different people throughout this whole session rating us. So thank you so much for that. We had Manic Pixie Girl being the first one on one of our streams to not only donate bits, but donate bits twice. So thank you so much for that. I am, as a DM, blessed to have such ridiculous and very equally patient players who have been willing to deal with this very late hour for some of the places folks are playing from. But so folks know ahead of time, we are not going to be having a session next week because we are going to be having the Raices charity stream happening next weekend, where we are going to have different members of this group are going to either be DMing or playing as players, including myself. I'm going to be running a one-shot I got to run for 3V on the Sunday morning of that charity event. So no Agni next week, but we are going to be coming back as part of the fall season as an established group 1 hour earlier. So not all of us will have to sleep at a terrible, terrible hour. But with that being the case, we're going to move into our little outros. And I want to start by letting our wonderful, fantastic, demure, bardic guest, so cute.
Hi. I am Lauren. I played Xochitl. And you can find me pretty much everything that I do online at lwsalinas.com, which is my website. I will also be playing on the charity stream on Friday the 30th at 7 p.m. Central. And I was really happy to be here. This was fantastic. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much for filling in for our fantastic monk who has not been able to join us for a little bit, but we're going to have them back soon. They're a wonderful guest. I'm going to move over to our sleepy Bardlock boy. Baya.
So I'm Anthony. I play Baya. Off of the stream, you can find me on Discord as Jojoro, and I also run the blog dungeonanthology.com.
Alrighty. Next up, our fire cleric, knowledge boy extraordinaire, Azerlath.
My name's Aletta. You can find me on Twitter at a fire gender, and that has links to all my other things. I'm an artist and a screen printer, and I also post a lot of Final Fantasy XIV stuff. And I have a cute cat. It's a cat. She's being extremely cute, but just like right next to me right now.
Next up, Mariam, our wonderful producer and our spellcaster shamer extraordinaire.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mariam. You can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. Next week, I will be doing quite a few things in regards to the charity Raisis, for Raisis. I will be a player in Star Trek Adventures, which will run on the Saturday, 8 p.m. to midnight ET. In addition, I will be GMing a game on Sunday morning, 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. ET, which will be a Surzamine. Oh gosh, it's too late at night.
One shot.
One shot. Yeah, Surzamine one shot in
Works.
D&D 5e. In addition, I will be in quite a few new games that are happening in the new season. I will, of course, still be in Adventures of Agni, and I am also part of Stars Asunder, which is a scum and villainy game right before Adventures in Agni. And 3V will also continue into the new season, where you'll see me either playing, GMing, or just hanging out. And Avithna will continue until I think mid-October, so I'm also a part of that. In addition, I will be running a Surzamine short shot in September, Tuesdays, with, I believe, you are, Lauren will be joining me for that as a player, which I am so excited.
Yes.
That'll be 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. ET on Tuesdays for the whole month of September. And I am also the GM for The Musafirs, which is a podcast, and I've been talking for too long. I'm in too many things. You can see
The TLDR is Mariam does a lot of things and basically lives at WTTP over the weekends. But
Yep.
Lily, our wonderful, fantastic barbarian.
Hello, I am Lily. I'm at Elise on Life on Twitter, and I am LaScribe on Twitch and Discord. I am here in Agni when we broadcast on Saturday evenings. And I also am pretty regular on 3V, which is Visible, Vibrant, Victorious. It's an all POC broadcast that Welcome Party does on Sundays. I will be also taking part in something in the new season called side quests, which are basically one-shots on Mondays. I'll be a player in a lot of them, but I'm also going to be DMing for the first time on stream for one of the side quests in late October. So that'll be something new for me, something interesting. But this is a kind of community where I felt like, yes, I can do this. And finally, I am a cast member on an all-female players Star Wars actual play podcast called Misfits of Space.
Oh,
Let it be known, my players are fantastic, guests fantastic. I love all of you so much. I will try and get through my spiel very quickly because I, like Mariam, also am involved in a lot of things. I'm going to be playing in the upcoming 5e setting run by, I believe, Ari on our Discord WTTP community, Let Sleeping Angels Lie, I believe, something along those lines, on Fridays. I'm going to be running Agni. I'm going to be doing as a player, which is really rare when I get to actually play as a player. As and one of the short shots coming up at the beginning of September, and I am going to be. You can find me at Twitter at Phoenix24Fem, at Patreon of Philosophem, where I post a lot of my poetic pieces, and as an essayist for Art for Ourselves and all QT PoC creative online media collective and publication. Let me see if this had everything. Oh yeah, and for those of you who are going to be at PAX West next weekend, you will get to see me there actually as a panelist on the queer world building and the trans representation and TTRPG panels. So I did not expect to get to this place, just trying to run this weird world idea with just trying to create a POC space that in a world that just centered all of y'all, and to not go too long into this because I'll probably either cry or have a lot of feelings. Thank you so much to all the people who've been supporting us. Thank you to Neo Gabby's excitement at all of the games we were involved in chat. Thank you to those of you, to my wonderful players, for sticking with the late time slot. We're moving to an hour earlier next time. Yay! And thank you for believing in my world. Thank you, WTTP, for helping us have this space and devoting time for this. And I love you all. As I say this every time I end these sessions because I am a total schmaltzy person, but love you all. Wish you well. We're going to be rating, I believe someone listed in the chat.
We'll be rating Maddie Morg. So everybody get your emotes and stuff ready. I will begin that.
And to all of my players who in the new season will be moving into DM stuff or into other games, wish you the best of luck in that, especially Lily. The hype will be real, at least for me, because I'm the ultimate hype person for everyone. This is confirmed in the community. And again, have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend, everyone. And no matter what happens, whatever good or ill comes to your way, know that there's light, there's warmth, there's community, and there is strength and goodness, and watching out for each other and building these spaces where we can all grow, and where we had 14 people watching us. Oh my God. I'm never going to get over this. I love you all. Have a wonderful evening and take care.
All right. We are going in a couple of seconds, so keep waving. We're gonna raid. Awkwardly.